The Johnsky is a YouTube channel run by and run for people over the age of 13. People under the age of 13 should click off of this video right now, or watch with a parent or guardian. Viewer discretion is advised.
You don't scare me!
Milt is freaking the name, Militiaman. My name is King Prime, and welcome back to another video here on the YouTube channel. Today we're going to be taking a look at another Star Wars Vintage Collection figure, that being the Star Wars Vintage Collection, The Book of Boba Fett, Cad Bane. Now, a lot of people have been waiting for this Cad Bane figure probably since around the time of the Clone Wars, myself included, and to finally get an updated one like this is phenomenal. And I'll have some things to say about it that you know, I have my gripes, certainly, but I also have lots to say about this figure that is positive. So I will say that. But before we do that, let's take a look at the packaging itself. So, of course, up at the top we have the Book of Boba Fett logo done up in that nice deep crimson red, as in the same color, that deep red Cad Bane nameplate to match the red pill for the bubble. On the card there, we have a picture of Cad himself from the show. I believe that's when he shows up during the final battle. I'm not quite sure. It has been over a year since I've seen the show, with Kenner logo down at the bottom. On the other side, we do have the other figures in the wave. All of these Jabba Sail Barge figures that I will not be getting. Tusken Boba, who I won't be getting. Nine Numb, who I have and I may review. Cad, who obviously I'm reviewing. And Moff Jarjarad, who I have reviewed. Some legal jargon, and that's about it. I say it in every single video, my friends. You only really care about the packaging if you are a carded collector, of which I am not. I'm here to open and review toys, and that is just what I'm going to do. Freeze frame. Freeze frame unfreeze, and here is Cad himself. But before we take a look at him, let's take a look at his accessories. First being his hat. And I mean, if you know me, you know that I love figures with removable headgear. And Cad is no different. He does have a little bit of armoring around his hat, as he has always had. And of course, it can fit on his head. It's the side with the least armor goes on the front of his head, which is hilarious. I guess he's just trying to not get shot from behind. That's why he has the armor on the back of the head. But that's how that works. I guess you could technically also count his little tubes here as an accessory, but I don't count that as an accessory. But the other accessories, of course, are his twin blasters. These are, of course, modeled after real-world blasters, real-world 6 shooters, because Cad Bane is, of course, a desperado cowboy type. I'm not quite sure what this is modeled after. I think it may be the Colt Single Action Army, but I am not sure. If you know what this is modeled after, let me know, or exactly, you know, what the prop was modeled after, because, you know, I always like to have that real world connection, but I'm not quite sure what this is modeled after. But anyway, Cad can, of course, hold these in both of his hands. I'll just model with the one, though. He has huge hands because he's an alien, so he does hold them like that. And, of course, being a desperado, Cad can, of course, put them in his holster right there. The expert bounty hunter that he is, and it just goes really deep in his holster. So that's really nice. But that's enough for the accessories. On to Cad himself. He is a fantastic looking figure. There is so much detail baked into this thing, and I absolutely love it. So looking up close onto his face, we did have a lot of complaints about the Cad Bane sculpt in the show, which I understand because it's a little bit different than how Duros looked in A New Hope. But I think that this mold is absolutely fantastic in capturing how he looked in the show. It is 100% accurate, even to the little purple bags under his eyes. His mouth also has shading around it, so you can see his teeth in there and stuff like that. Fantastic. He has little greeblies all along his jacket. You know, these two little metal pieces as well as the tubes, which are attached to his head sock so that he can, you know, have his invulnerability to force attacks, and also breathing apparatus so that he can survive in different atmospheres. Continuing down the figure here, his bodysuit has a lot of detailing as well. Different painted comm pieces and badges and shit, I don't even know what half of these do. But I do know he does have charges along his belt for his blaster pistols, as well as belt buckles and, you know, little greeblies picked out in silver. Going down to his boots, he does have, again, those charges going all the way around his legs. I wish he would have had his jet boots, but again, I don't think Cad actually had those in the Book of Boba Fett. He does also have some fantastic detailing on his gauntlets, tiny little silver and red buttons all along that like nice metallic blue, a coppery bronze colored cable which connects it to the other sides. It goes around the arm. And that is just fantastic detailing, really good job on the sculpt and the painting. Final thing of note is, of course, this jacket, which is very nicely sculpted. Even has a little button connector there to, ensure on the real jacket that it wouldn't spread too far apart. However, I don't really like this jacket. As you know, I'm a purveyor of soft goods, and this is a rubbered cape, which is kind of sad, but it is sculpted nicely so that his drawing hand can pull out this blaster if need be, and then his other pistol is completely covered by that jacket, which is a cool detail. But I would have preferred if this was, a faux leather or other sort of substance. I understand why it's soft plastic, and it's not like it's bad. But as for the articulation of Cad, he does have a dumbbell joint at the head. However, it is a little bit hindered by these cables here. Of course, you can get a full range of motion because these things are soft plastic, and if you do turn this enough, you will, remove the box that's attached to the back of his jacket there. But you still get a full range of motion. Same thing with the arm. You get a full range of motion up and all the way around, not hindered by the jacket at all. You do have a pretty weak elbow bend. In fact, I actually modified the figure. I sliced a little bit of plastic off of his right arm. As you can see, there's just a little chunk missing right there, so that he gets a little bit of a deeper elbow bend. As you can see, it's just a smidge, but it helps for photos and stuff like that, as well as an up and down at the wrist and a swivel as well, and an up and down on the other hand, so both hands have up and down joints, which is very nice to see. I always love seeing up and down joints with pistol wielding figures. At the waist, he does have an ab crunch, which is really hindered by his gun belt, because his gun belt is absolutely massive. But the articulation is there, which is good. Nothing at the waist proper, but you can fake it with the ab joint. He does have those nice ball jointed hips, which are great, and mind the angle here. He does have an upper thigh cut, so you can get a nice swivel there, as well as a knee bend, which is very good. Can go over 90 degrees. Nothing at the boot. However, you do have an ankle down and up, as well as an ankle pivot for getting those far out leaning poses. So overall, pretty good articulation. I am going to knock it because of the elbows. This really sucks. I understand that it's modeled after the show and all, but the complete lack of articulation here at the gauntlets really screws up the playability of this figure just a little bit. You can't really get him, putting the gun next to his face unless you really bend his arm. That's about as far as you can go. And on the other hand, it's not even close. Let's bring some other figures in so that I can show you how Cad stacks up. Some other figures, freeze frame.
Wait, SpongeBob! We're not cavemen! We have technology!
Freeze frame on freeze. Here is Cad Bane next to the golden standard of action figures himself. Dark Times Darth Vader. Here he is next to a Vitruvian Hack's skeleton. Here he is next to our previous Star Wars Vintage Collection review, Grand Admiral Thrawn. And here he is next to a Mandalorian of my own custom design. Being a Duros, he is actually pretty tall, and I will remove his hat so that you can see exactly how tall he is. He is pretty tall. He's taller than Thrawn. He's almost as tall as Vader, and he is even matched with the Mandalorian over there to the top of his helmet, even without his hat, which is pretty interesting. So we can tell that Cad is a pretty large figure. But before I ramble on about the scales, let's get onto my final thoughts so I can tell you exactly what I think about Cad. Freeze frame.
Do you hear me? I'm not afraid anymore.
Freeze frame on freeze. So overall, this figure is pretty good. I'm not a super huge fan of how some of the molding turned out. Overall, I did have to pretty heavily modify this arm here. As you can see, there is a lot of plastic cut out here just so I could get this pose with Cad, tipping his hat. but I do absolutely love the way that this is painted, and the sculpting, detail-wise, is fantastic. The paint apps are great. The weapons are awesome. The removable hat, I mean, you know, they're doing better with the 3 3/4 inch line than they ever did with the Adventure series, or whatever the hell the Indiana Jones line was called, where Indy never had a removable hat. And Cad Bane here has one, which I find absolutely hilarious. I've been waiting since the Clone Wars to get a really good Cad Bane figure, since the one that was released back then wasn't the greatest, and, you know, even by collector standards today, was released based off of concept art. This was, of course, released based off of the real show, and so I do definitely prefer this one with all the advanced articulation, the great proportions, and the awesome accessories. I think that Hasbro did a really good job with this one. It just could have been a little bit better with that articulation around the elbows. But if you can look past that, and you can look past the jacket, then this is a fantastic figure. But if you like Cad Bane, or you like Star Wars, The Clone Wars, Book of Boba Fett, what have you, make sure you share this video with your friends, share it with your Facebook groups, all that good stuff. If you like the content, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe down below. Keeps helping me pump out this content, keeps helping the channel grow. That's going to be pretty much it for this time, my friends. Thank you all so very much for watching, and as always, peace.